Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Outkick the Show is presented by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all of your gambling and informational related needs. And also go to thehomeloanexpert.com, thehomeloanexpert.com if you need an opportunity to get a brand new mortgage, if you need to refi, if you need to get pre-qualified. These guys love you. They love the anonymous mailbag. If you are an Outkick fan and you are getting a mortgage and you are not going to thehomeloanexpert.com, you're personally insulting me. Hook up the people who hook your boy up. Go to thehomeloanexpert.com. I'm telling you right now, big news off the jump here. I will be the lead story on what should be a pretty awesome Tucker Carlson tonight on Fox News, talking about this massive story that happened last night. ESPN tells me all the time, oh my goodness, you're exaggerating. We're not left-wing. We're not liberal. I will be the lead story on Tucker Carlson tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time, discussing this massive story of what ESPN has done now. We have requested a comment. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to tell you about Server Guy. All right, first I got to tell you about Server Guy. If you are not aware, Outkick the Coverage's servers are completely down right now. Outkick the Coverage's servers have been down for a full day. Our servers are located in Orlando, and evidently the entire city of Orlando is still without power. I don't know how this has happened, but nobody in Orlando has power. At least our servers do not. So, if you are watching this right now, and you are connected in any way, this might be bribery, but I'm going to offer it anyway. If you are connected in any way to the Orlando Public Works crew, all right, whoever is out there on their electrical crew, if your dad, your uncle, your mom, your grandma, somebody is connected to the Orlando electricity service, if you can get our server guy turned back on, I will send you an Outkick prize package. That's how much this matters to me right now. I'm calling out all the stops, APB, Orlando, Florida. Somebody has a connection to somebody in Orlando, Florida who can make this happen. Our servers need to be back on. Now, I got to tell you this. People say, why didn't you have any idea this might happen? That's a fantastic question. Despite the fact that I make a good living in the world of sports media and technology, I really don't know anything about technology. And so I was told that our servers were fine, that I never needed to worry about it. Come to find out, the Outkick backup server plan, if the power goes off, and the power has now been off in Orlando for 36 hours, is to run a generator. This motherfucking server guy was running the entire Outkick website off of a generator for 15 hours, and he didn't reach out and say, hey guys, just so you know, we're on a generator. Might be worthwhile for you to consider having a different backup plan. I thought we were perfectly fine. I didn't know our backup plan was a fucking generator, or that Orlando would suddenly fall apart. The only part of Florida without power, evidently, is the whole block where the Outkick servers are located. So Server Guy, if Server Guy was here right now, I would strangle him to death right in front of all of you. That's how angry I am. It's very rare that I get angry. I would grab Server Guy by the neck and I would choke him to death right here live on the show. And I'm starting to think that ESPN might be responsible for the servers being down. I don't have any evidence of that, but I think it's definitely to blame. So that's the update on the servers. They said it might be days. So the anonymous mailbag, if you want to find it, I tweeted out the link. It's up on my Facebook page. If you search Clay Travis, you Facebook people already have an advantage. If you search Clay Travis, the anonymous mailbag is posted there. I still did my work. I've got like 18 different jobs, so I took care of it. All right, let's talk about what ESPN did. Let's talk about what ESPN employee Jemele Hill did last night. Now, I like Jemele Hill. I know some of you do not. That's normal. In the world of media, some people like people, some people don't. I think she's smart. I think she's funny. I think she has gone completely off the deep end when it comes to politics, and I think that ESPN is afraid to call somebody who has a liberal perspective on sports for what she did. Last night, she tweeted as follows. These are all directly from her. Donald Trump is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared about more than just myself. He is unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader. And if he were not white, he never would have been elected. Continuing. These are all different tweets. Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. The height of white privilege is being able to ignore his white supremacy because it's of no threat to you. Well, it's a threat to me. These are all real tweets that I am reading. All right? Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. These are all the things that she tweeted. All right, I'm going to break these down for you, okay? ESPN argues that they are not, in fact, biased. I don't think there's any at all discount at all that you can give in this situation, all right? Donald Trump, I'm going to break each one of these down, all right? ESPN has not officially responded. ESPN has not officially responded. I want to ask you this question to begin with, all right? First question, all right? First question in this situation. If somebody at ESPN goes out and says Barack Obama is only a president because he's black, or Barack Obama is a Muslim, or Barack Obama is is whatever else you want to say. Barack Obama is a Muslim, Barack Obama is not a native-born American, they all get fired, right? Because those are unquestionably not true. You can criticize Donald Trump for a lot. Okay? But he is not a white supremacist. And the vast majority of people who work for Donald Trump are not white supremacists either. So what's amazing about this, I'm going to break down each one of these tweets for you. And again, this is all up. We've requested a comment from ESPN. I will be live on Tucker Carlson tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. I'd encourage you guys to come watch. This is an unbelievable breakdown. All right, let's break down each of these tweets. They're just wrong, okay? On its most basic level, I don't begrudge anybody wanting to have a political opinion, okay? I don't begrudge anybody having a political opinion at all. But in general, okay, in general, when you have a political opinion, I think you have an obligation to also allow the other side to give its political opinion. And right here, you do not have at all a fair and equal outcome of being able to share perspectives, okay? Here is the quotes again, and I'm going to break them down for you, okay? Donald Trump is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared about more than just myself. First of all, he isn't a bigot, all right? Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared about more than just himself. So effectively here, she is calling half of the country bigots who don't care about anything but themselves. Now, if you keep in mind, around 10% of black people voted for Donald Trump. Around 35% of Hispanic people voted for Donald Trump. Over half of white women voted for Donald Trump. And more women in general voted for Donald Trump than voted for Mitt Romney. Okay? All of those things factor in, as well as a lot of Asian people. Presumably, all of those people are not white supremacists. Moreover, the reason why Donald Trump won this election, I'm going to continue reading her quote. So that's one tweet. He is unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader. You can say that about anybody, and it literally has been said about every single president who's ever been elected. And if he were not white, he never would have been elected. Okay, Barack Obama would have never been elected if he were not black. That's true, right? If you look at the numbers of new black voters who came out, if Barack Obama were not black, he would not have been elected. Moreover, when you actually look at this situation, when you actually look at the voter returns, Donald Trump got elected because he flipped several states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Wisconsin. How did he flip those states? By getting white voters who had previously voted for Barack Obama to now vote for him. Okay? Around 75,000 people in those in those three states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. If you flip them, then they would have ended up going for Hillary Clinton. Okay? It was a very close election. The people who flipped previously voted for Barack Obama. So, by and large, did those people suddenly become racist? When they voted for Barack Obama in 2012 for a black man to be president, and then they went back to voting for Donald Trump, did they suddenly become racist? I mean, I'm asking an interesting question. If you're going to say if he were not white, he never would have been elected, well, he was running against a white woman, first of all. Secondly, you could easily say of Barack Obama, if he were not black, he would have never been elected either. Yet if somebody said that, they'd probably get immediately fired, even though statistically it's true. But the question that I have is, when you actually look at the data, the reason why Donald Trump flipped Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania was by and large because white people who voted for Barack Obama in 2012, mostly white men, flipped to voting for Donald Trump in 2016 because Hillary Clinton was not a good candidate, because they didn't find Hillary Clinton trustworthy, for all of those reasons. So are you really going to argue that half of the country is fundamentally racist and that's why they voted for Donald Trump? It's absurd. Again, 10% of black people voted for Donald Trump, 35% or so of Hispanics, a decent percentage of Asian people. Like, are all those people racist? Are they all white supremacists? Moreover, are all the people in the Midwest who flipped their vote in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, and in Wisconsin, the 75,000 people who flipped the vote, are they all racist as well? Interesting question. We're reading from these tweets. Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. This is not true. White supremacists have been voting for Republicans for a long time. True white supremacists are open in avowing the fact that they are white supremacists. They haven't been voting for other people. It's not like they were voting for Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, or for that matter, Michael Dukakis. They've been voting Republican for a long time. The truth of the matter is they have almost no impact. Everybody out there like, oh, the KKK is rising again. Oh, there's so many of these hate groups. There's a tiny smidge of the population that is actually racist. It's offensive to me that people are actually racist because, why? Because there's such a tiny percentage of the overall population and they're so incredibly lazy. Anybody who watches this show regularly knows that I hate lazy thought. If you're just going to eliminate somebody and say they're not worthy of being contemplated because of the color of their skin or their gender or anything else, just lazy and dumb. Look, I'm a Southerner. Lots of people out there think that Tennesseans are dumb. I'm really fucking smart, all right? I'm smarter than your average Tennessean, right? So if you eliminate me and say, oh, Clay Travis is dumb because of where I was born or where I live, that's just lazy on an offensive level, right? The only people who I'm completely comfortable eliminating and saying are dumb is Alabama football fans. So in general, that's just a lazy sort of situation in general. The height of white privilege is being able to ignore his white supremacy because it's of no threat to you. Well, it's a threat to me. How? First of all, he's not a white supremacist. You're presuming an answer here in your position. Secondly, what threat is he to you? You are an ESPN on-air talent making millions of dollars a year for your sports opinions. Donald Trump is literally zero threat to you at all. And he's zero threat to everybody else. Do you know who is a threat to you statistically? Other black people. Like, if other people are like, oh, Donald Trump's such a huge threat to me. It's not white people killing black people. 93% of all black people being murdered, if you're worried about threats coming from other black people, all right? 6% of the population black male, and they commit over 51% of all murders. If you want to be scared of somebody, be scared of black men, because statistically, that's the danger zone. That's the truth. Statistics are racist, though, but so you can't share actual facts because people say, oh my God, you can't say that. Why not? You can't solve problems unless you actually diagnose problems by discussing them in a legitimate fashion. And that, my friends, is 100% the truth. That's the truth. Donald Trump, and finally, she said, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. He isn't a white supremacist, first of all. Secondly, he hasn't surrounded himself with other white supremacists. What does that mean? Is Nikki Haley, the UN secretary, a racist? Is Elaine Cho and the Asian woman on his cabinet racist? Is Herman Cain a white supremacist? That would be a really bad move. It'd be like the Dave Chappelle skit, the blind black white supremacist. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, right? Is his son-in-law, who is Jewish, are his granddaughters who are Jewish, are all the Jewish guys who are in his cabinet all white supremacists? This is just a really lazy perspective. He hasn't largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists at all, even if you assume what is incorrect about Donald Trump, that he is a white supremacist. Like, it's just absurd. Clayton Bigsby. Yeah, that's the skit I'm talking about. That is the truth. Oh, yawn. Please say something important. Oh, guess who's going to get blocked by Clay Kyle? Bang. That's the truth. That is the truth right now, and that is the situation. Now, here is the question. Here's the question that I have for you. Curt Schilling got fired for saying that he disagreed with the transgender bathroom law. Curt Schilling fired for saying he disagreed with the transgender bathroom law. Doug Adler got fired for saying gorilla effect during a Venus Williams match. Gorilla effect meaning gorilla as in guerrilla warfare. All right? He got fired for that as well. Okay? Now, when you look at this situation, when you consider that Mike Ditka also got removed for saying that he was supporting Donald Trump and that he thought Barack Obama had been a bad president, when you consider that Hank Williams Jr. got fired before they brought him back for saying something negative about Barack Obama, what is ESPN's standard of political discourse here when left-wingers can say whatever they want? They can literally say whatever they want. Again, these tweets, Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. The height of white privilege is being able to ignore his white supremacy because it's of no threat to you. Well, it's a threat to me. Donald Trump is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared about more than just myself. He is unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader. And if he were not white, he never would have been elected. All of those things from Jemele Hill, one of the most prominent people at ESPN. Now, I like Jemele. I have no issues with her having political beliefs, even if I think that, to me, personally, saying that Donald Trump is a white supremacist is a lazy opinion. It's also an incredible insult. In my opinion, you shouldn't call somebody a white supremacist or a racist unless you're willing to do it on the same level as somebody who is like a child molester. We don't run around saying, so-and-so's a pedophile, branding somebody a child molester when they haven't actually ever been charged with child molestation or being a pedophile, when there's no evidence to support the fact that they are telling that they are involved in that wrongdoing. Why? Because you're intentionally branding someone as an attack, which makes it less legitimizing for them, okay? Every time somebody tries to scream racist, to me, they lose an argument. Because by and large, when people scream racist at me, it's because I'm sharing stats they don't like. It's because I'm saying, hey, black men represent 6% of the population, and they commit over 51% of all murders in this country. That's a statistical fact. 93% of all people murdered who are black are killed by other black people. That is a statistical fact. If Black Lives Matter, to me, instead of worrying about a cop every now and then, there have been 8 unarmed black men shot and killed this year, okay? Instead of worrying about a cop committing a shooting every now and then, which may or may not be justified, I would worry about the overall corpus of murder that's going on and say we got a death problem if Black Lives Matter, right? That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You can believe that structural racism is an issue and that black crime is not a focal point and that everybody gets punished for that and everything else. You're wrong, but you can believe that. But to me, when you actually go at it, it's like an 800-pound man being concerned that his thumb is fat. That's what Black Lives Matter being obsessed with police is like. It's like an 800-pound man being like, hey, is my thumb fat? Does my thumb look fat to you? Why is my thumb so fat? I'm going to protest my thumb being fat. That's the truth, okay? That's why a lot of people out there say Black Lives Matter is bullshit, because if you truly cared about Black Lives Matter, you would recognize that the police save more black lives every year than anybody. And that, in fact, the murder rate has skyrocketed in every city where Black Lives Matter has been active. These are all statistical facts. Baltimore, Chicago, St. Louis area, the skyrocketing crime rate there and murder rate is a direct function of police being kicked out of neighborhoods where they were protecting lives, and now more people are dying. This is the truth. So if you are Black Lives Matter and you're running around protesting like, oh, the lies, by the way, looking at statistics, because black people are much less likely to get shot as a percentage of violent crime than white people or Hispanic people are. Media doesn't tell you that, but it's true if you look at the actual data for both FBI crime and for the Washington Post shooting database. You can look all this stuff up. And then it makes you feel better because you go out there and you say, oh, Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Well, all you're doing is attacking the president for something that he's not actually, right? There are lots of reasons you can attack Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a Democrat until like 4 years ago. Donald Trump was the first president to ever be elected who at election was in favor of gay marriage. Donald Trump is not even a Republican when you actually look at his platform, as I've been saying for years. Most people don't look at it. So when you actually look at the data, things like what Jemele Hill is arguing are liberal talking points that aren't reflective or supported at all by facts. But my big issue is here, how is it that ESPN is perfectly fine with Donald Trump being called a white supremacist, but if they had an employee called Barack Obama a Muslim, he would have gotten fired? How is it that they're okay with Donald Trump being called a bigot, but if they had an employee called Barack Obama question his birth certificate, they would have fired him? How is it that they're okay with all of these attacks against Donald Trump, but they fired all sorts of conservative people for a fraction of what's happened here? Think about this. Doug Adler got fired for using the term guerrilla effect, as in guerrilla warfare, during a Venus Williams match. Jemele Hill just called Donald Trump a white supremacist with no evidence and said that everybody he surrounds himself with is a white supremacist. And we've got a comment for request out to ESPN, and they have issued absolutely no comment. The reason is because it's not an equal environment. You aren't being allowed to argue your side of the equation. ESPN is a real-life left-wing sports organization, and your opinion, if you have conservative values or beliefs, is not allowed. Curt Schilling can't say, hey, you know what? I disagree with the transgender bathroom bill in North Carolina. I don't think that people should be able to choose which bathroom they go to. I actually don't have a problem with transgender people choosing a bathroom. I've talked about this a great deal. I don't think it's something the government should ever get involved in. But I also don't have a problem with somebody having that opinion. I also don't have a problem with somebody coming on a show and saying, you know what? I don't think gay people should be able to get married because of my religious beliefs. Well, I disagree with you. I think gay people should be able to be as miserable as everybody else, but I'm not going to tell you that your opinion is wrong because of that reason. Okay? That's the truth. And so when I see these situations, they drive me crazy because I believe in the marketplace of ideas. I'm not saying you can't talk about politics and sports. I'm just saying that if you're going to talk about one side of politics, you're not going to be able to talk on the other side of politics as well. That's the truth. And so to me, somebody just said you sound like a libertarian. I'm a radical moderate. I believe in individual rights. You should be able to do whatever you want to as long as it's in the scope of overall legal behavior. I don't have a problem with you having an opinion that disagrees with mine. I've got a tremendous amount of belief in the marketplace of ideas, but I don't think the marketplace should be artificially constrained. And people say, I'm going to have to block this guy. I don't even know what he's talking about. Sorry, I hit the wrong guy. Did I work on the... Yes. I worked on the Al Gore campaign. I blocked the wrong guy. I'll go back and save him. Every now and then Clay Kyle takes off the wrong person. I say this from the perspective of I worked on the Al Gore campaign. I worked for a Democratic congressman on Capitol Hill. I helped to try to elect a black man to the Senate in Tennessee. I have done all of those things. I consider myself to be a very middle-of-the-road person. I voted for Barack Obama twice. I have never voted for a Republican, but what I have seen happen is the marketplace of ideas is breaking down. There is no First Amendment that's actually taking place here. And so as a result, when you don't have a full flourishing of the marketplace of ideas, you end up with one side being able to say whatever they want and the other side being able to say nothing at all. So that is my perspective. I voted for Gary Johnson in 2016. So that is that situation. And moreover, questions about this. Questions about this for those of you out there. Any questions? I'm talking about running for Senate. If there's no incumbent, I may well run for the Senate. Ted Cruz Jr., I love that. I love the Ted Cruz porn tweet. I actually like him more now. Any questions? Again, I appreciate the fact that Jemele Hill has different political views than me. I don't begrudge it at all. I think she's wrong. And I think that you should be able to argue whichever side that you want. And right now, we do not have equality of argument. That's the truth. I'm going to be on Tucker Carlson tonight. Will be the lead story. Should be pretty awesome. Do I approve of Trump? I don't think he's doing a great job. I just want him to get a tax cut passed. I don't think he's done a great job, and I don't think he's done a bad job. The stock market has done fabulously well. That's the truth. What should ESPN do? I'm not in favor of firing people, and I'm not even in favor of suspending people, but I think ESPN should acknowledge that their political opinion team is broken. I think they should either acknowledge that, hey, we're taking all of our people out of politics. We now have a blanket ban on anybody who is employed by ESPN getting involved in politics on their Twitter feeds. We pay you millions of dollars to talk about sports. If you want to get involved in politics, that's fine. There's lots of other channels where you can do it. You can get off and do that yourself. All right, that's a possibility. I think the other possibility is that they have to acknowledge that everybody can talk about politics. And the problem you get there is they're not hiring people. We don't have a single employee that I'm aware of at ESPN who admits to voting for Donald Trump. Not one. So to me, that's a question, if I were running ESPN, that I would have to seriously run into. So that is the question. All right, additional questions. Let me go ahead and hit this ad. And then we will get a couple of more situations here. I want to tell you, are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, 80% of employees who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within one day. With no juggling emails or calls to your office, simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Outkick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Outkick. One more time to try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Outkick. All right, the guy on the sideline in Monday Night Football. Total disaster. This is an example of what happens when you promote somebody way above where their ability level actually is. ESPN had a Monday Night Football game. They put a guy out there, Sergio Dip, as I call him, Sergio Just the Tip, and in honor of Chris Berman, since we're big on nicknames now. And Sergio Just the Tip was not prepared at all to be a sideline reporter. There are probably 100 people employed at ESPN right now who have worked as sideline reporters, and they put this guy out there because he was bilingual and because they wanted to have the most inclusive broadcast of all time. They had a woman in Beth Mowins. They had a guy who loves feet in Rex Ryan, and they had a Hispanic sideline reporter, and they were going to be like, oh, we're breaking through all the glass ceilings. Look at how we're doing. Here's the problem. We have moved into a weird universe where what matters is not talent. It's what you look like. And instead of diversity of thought, we get a lot of people who look the same, look different, but all think the same. And so you get this guy, Sergio Just the Tip, out there, and he has absolutely no ability to actually do the job. And he blows it, and then he complains and does a statement where he tries to use 9/11 and his race and his background as an excuse for why he did a shitty job on the sideline. The reason why he was on the sideline is because he was a Hispanic dude, and ESPN was trying to look like they were the most inclusive broadcast network ever. I've got a crazy idea for you. It's going to blow your mind. I think that the world, and in particularly, certainly America, should be a meritocracy. See, unlike all these other people in sports media who have big brands behind them, constantly pushing them, ESPN, CBS, NBC, Fox, I have built almost my entire career entirely on my own. There is nobody out there who can take away what I do because it's all self-made. And I come to you every single day and tell you exactly what I think, and there's nobody out there who can stop me from telling you exactly what I think. Sometimes it's going to be funny. Sometimes it might be political. Lots of times it'll be sports. But I tell you every single day exactly what I think. Okay? And I got to where I am, to where thousands of you are watching me every day because entirely of what I've created. When my servers work, millions of people come in to read Outkick every year. And that's not because I'm getting some huge fire hose effect from a major media company that's getting people to come to the site. It's because you guys individually have become the tip of the spear, the army of Outkick that is out there bringing forth our message every single day. Telling people to subscribe, saying, have you seen Clay Travis? Join the VIP. Go buy his Outkick t-shirts. Go make sure that you listen to him talk. By the way, I'm going to be at Zany's next week. Go check out my Twitter feed. You can come, next month. Go check out my Twitter feed. You can come. And unlike Sergio, just the tip, I don't owe my success to where I'm from or what I look like or anything other than the fact that every single goddamn day for the last 15 years, I have gotten up and grinded my ass off every day. Writing millions of words, publishing books, waking up every day before everybody else. That is the truth. And I don't know how to block this guy, but let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get this guy blocked. This is something they need to add to the, there we go. I got it. Bang. Clay Kyle had to get out the scope on that one. Had to get out the scope on that one to get that motherfucker dead. Every single day I get up and I grind. You know what I believe in? The meritocracy. I believe that no matter what color you are, what race you are, what religion you are, what ethnicity you are, what sex you are, if you have talent and you show up and you work every single day, you're going to be successful. For a long time, I made nothing. Now I make millions of dollars a year. Do you know why that is? It ain't because I'm a white dude. It ain't because of my privilege. It's because I get up every day and I grind. Okay? You wake up at 4 a.m. every day for years on end. You do as much work as I do. Then you will be successful too, regardless of where you're from. And this is why I keep preaching this. You know the most successful group in America is today? Asian men. If America were a fundamentally racist country, would Asian men be the highest earning income group in the entire country? Think about that for a minute. How is it that Asian men, many of whom have only been in this country for a few years, show up here and become the highest earning group ethnically in the entire country? It's not because the entire country is slanted towards them. It's not because yellow privilege exists. It's not because there's a Asian male privilege in this country. It's because they work their fucking asses off and they take advantage of the opportunities in front of them. And so when you come around and you want to argue that the reason why you're not succeeding is because people are lined up against you, is because everybody's trying to stop you, it's because of the color of your skin, it's flat out not true. And when I see arguments like this one from Jemele Hill, which I think is just flagrantly wrong, if you're just tuning in for us right now, when I see her say, Donald Trump is a bigot, glad you could live with voting for him, I couldn't because I cared about more than just myself. Or I see her say he is unqualified and unfit to be president, he is not a leader, and if he were not white, he never would have been elected. When I see her say Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime, his rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. When I see her say Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists, it is not true. Okay? It's just flagrantly not true. And the fact that ESPN allows these opinions to be had by its employees while simultaneously shooting down every opinion that anybody could have is conservative, firing Kurt Schilling, firing Doug Adler, firing Mike Ditka, forcing out employee after employee. If you look at the firings that just recently happened, many of them were conservatives. Left-wing talking points are being promoted inside of ESPN. They don't like you if you've ever voted Republican. ESPN, MS-ESPN hates you. That's the truth. All right? I love all of you. I will be live on Tucker Carlson tonight at 8 Eastern. It is going to be phenomenal. Get your popcorn. Tucker Carlson, Fox News, tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. Number one story is going to be this. Cannot wait. I will see you guys then. DBAP, I'll see you on Tucker Carlson tonight, and then I'll be live tomorrow morning. Love all you guys. Don't be a pussy. And definitely don't call Donald Trump a white supremacist when it's 100% not true. Love you guys.